The conflict between Russia and Ukraine is having some pretty obvious consequences when it comes to oil prices, energy prices, and gas prices, but there are some unintended consequences as well. We've already been facing a massive computer chip shortage for almost 2 years now. This computer chip shortage has made it hard to get all things related to computers, from computers to video games to cars. In 2021, everybody was predicting that the chip shortage would be a lot better by 2022, and then in early 2022, that's when we found out that that was wrong. This chip shortage is significantly worse than what we expected, and then we started having the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Well, Ukraine produces 70% of the world's neon, and neon is a crucial component in producing computer chips. So you have to expect that these international conflicts are going to affect the supply chain for computer chips and everything technological. So that hurts car companies and other hardware companies that use computer chips in their businesses. And then obviously you have the higher cost of oil. Now all of us have seen this higher cost of oil through the higher gas prices that we have to pay, but these high oil prices hurt more than just your gas. Groceries become more expensive and vacations become more expensive, and we're going to really start to experience the effects of this over the next few months as the higher costs trickle down into the other industries. And so if people have to pay more money to live their life because it costs more money for you to fill up your gas, it costs more money to eat, it costs more money to travel, well then they're ultimately going to have less money to spend on other things. And if people have less money to spend on other things like Amazon and Lululemon and Apple, that means these companies are going to make less money, which will ultimately affect these companies' bottom lines and their revenues. So this is something that you want to pay attention to, because we're going to see a lot more volatility because everything keeps getting more expensive. But I'll talk about inflation in just a little bit. The second bit of uncertainty that you want to keep your eye on is this pandemic. Now, I know this feels like a repeat of 2020, but the reality is this pandemic is starting to surge again in other parts of the country. We've already seen China impose lockdowns again, and they've shut down manufacturing plants, which is going to hurt the supply chain of things in our economy again. But this is something that you definitely want to pay attention to, because it doesn't look like this pandemic is history yet. The reason why this is important to understand from a financial perspective is anytime you see a new wave of this variant hit the United States, you see it affect the markets. Like if you just look back to the Omicron variant, you saw that the stock market was hit pretty hard as soon as the variant started surging in the United States. This affects the economy because if people are worried about the pandemic and they're worried about getting sick, they're not working. If people aren't working, they aren't producing anything. And if people aren't producing anything, then the economy is slowing. And if the economy is slowing, people have less money to spend. If people have less money to spend, that further slows the economy. Now, this is something that you want to pay attention to, because this is going to affect how the Federal Reserve Bank responds to raising interest rates, because we have the things going on overseas, we have the raging inflation, and then we have a slowing economy, partially due to this pandemic, because if people aren't working, we aren't able to grow as an economy. Now, I will say that the one plus that this pandemic has brought is it changed our working environment, because it pushed a lot of companies to allow their employees to work from home. Now, some companies don't like that. Some companies are forcing their employees to come back into the office. They're forcing them to come back into the office to be more productive, while other companies are now understanding that employees want to have this work-life balance, and they're letting their employees have the option to work from home. So it's really started to change the way that people work, which is good for people. And this dynamic has pushed a lot of people to look for their own sources of income, because they were tired of being told by the man how they need to work, where they need to work from, and the lifestyle that they need to have. So you saw this massive growth in people starting their own side hustles or finding their own streams of income. That's a big part of the reason why companies are still struggling to find more employees, because you have a lot of people that are now looking to create their own lifestyles by starting their own side hustles. Now, as a little tip, if you are starting your own side hustle, or if you are starting your own business, make sure you have a business bank account that's made specifically for businesses to help you manage your money. If you need some help with that, you can check out our sponsor, North One. North One is designed for businesses and side hustlers to make managing your money super simple, because you can manage your finances off your phone or this card right here. They make it super simple for you to manage your money and for you to manage your business finances, because it's all digital. And the best part is that right now North One is doing a giveaway. They're giving away $5,000 and smaller prizes of $500. All you have to do is create a business bank account. It takes just 3 minutes to do. Now, just so you're aware, the giveaway is going to end soon. So if you want to learn more, create a business bank account and see if you can win some free prizes. I'll put the link to how you can do that with our sponsor North One down in in the description below. Third, we have the Federal Reserve Bank finally raising interest rates. Now, the interesting thing about interest rates, kind of funny, right? It's interesting about interest rates. The interesting thing about interest rates is that interest rates are there to help manage inflation. When the Federal Reserve Bank is worried about inflation, when they're worried about high inflation, they will raise interest rates. When you raise interest rates, it makes borrowing money more expensive, which tightens the monetary supply, which reduces and cools down inflation. When the Fed is worried about a slowing economy, that's when they cut interest rates, which increases inflation because now you can borrow money cheaper, and that helps to stimulate the economy. But we're in a weird situation right now because right now we have high inflation and we have a slowing economy. Remember what I just said, to fight a slowing economy, the Fed is typically going to cut interest rates. But when you're in a high inflationary environment, the Fed typically has to raise interest rates. The Fed can't raise interest rates and cut interest rates at the exact same time, so the Fed has to make a decision. Is it going to fight inflation or is it going to fight a slowing economy? If you enjoyed this short clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, if you're interested in learning more about how to start generating passive income, our team put together an amazing guide that goes over what passive income is, how to start generating passive income, and different passive income strategies. All you got to do is click that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.